Hello everyone, and welcome to Dandelion Lessons here on YouTube. Boy, I have something really important to me to talk to you about today, and I want to do a little project with you. But first of all, I want to show you something really cool, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you see this? I don't know if you can see it. It's a wooden box that I got at Target. I was so excited. And it's got 3 holes in it that I can put all my paintbrushes in, which is really cool. They're organized from big, medium, and small. And so I don't have a bunch of different glasses on my table. It's just wonderful. I love it. So I was very excited about that. Little things, right? So today, well, I'll start with this. As you know, I draw soul cards by Deborah Koff Chapin. And today I drew this one. And today, what I thought about with this is I immediately thought of the story of the loaves and fishes, the biblical story, and how no matter how much you have, you can always make it enough, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of deeper meaning to that story, but for me, this is what it made me think about today. I also love the face coming out with the rays and the beautiful soft colors and this soft, gentle look, but it's very confident look in her eyes to me today. And the funny thing is about these cards is on different days, they have different meanings to me. And I've drawn this one before, but today this is what I thought about, and mostly probably because the message that I wanted to talk about today has a lot to do with loaves and fishes. And it has to do with being one of many fish in a big pond, and that there is always enough for everyone. And so I know that you realize that I am a huge fan of handmade watercolors, and I just want to really quickly just show you what I've collected. I've supported several makers, and I'm going to start with the first ones that I started collecting. I had bought other handmade watercolors before this, but I wasn't that crazy about them. And then I discovered Kim and her wild thorn paints. And over time, this is my collection. This is how it has grown. It has totally filled a tin. And so when she comes out with new colors, I'm gonna have to get a bigger tin, which is crazy. But I love supporting her. She's a dear friend, and she makes the most exquisite paints. And so many variations. They're very subtle and soft and quiet, and yet very rich and deep at the same time. They wet beautifully. They're a dream to work with. And these were the first ones that I really fell in love with, and they're very dear to me. And so Kim is one of many makers that I now support and spread the word about, because I think it's so important what these people are doing. They're giving us these beautiful tools to work with from the earth, and I can't say how grateful I am. These paints have transformed my way of working, and it all began with these paints. And I started with the Autumn Leaves set, and then over time I've collected all of these, and I use them every day. And I treasure them. So those are my wildthorn paints. This is not a show-off thing. This is this is my job and my work. And so these are tools for my work. It's like somebody else would buy a computer or tools for a tool belt. Or these are my tools, and so they're an investment for me, and they're really important to what I do. So if it's not your profession, I mean, you certainly don't need all of these things that I have. But I highly recommend you looking at picking some that really speak to your heart. And as I've talked about before, our tools, the tools that speak to our heart, elevate our work. Okay, they just do. So no matter what watercolors you have, no matter what tools you have, if you treasure them and honor them, they will elevate your work. Okay? And then the next two makers that I sort of discovered around the same time, well, first was Margot from Earth Mineral Arts, and Margot's paints that I've collected over time. I started with some samples and then made this custom palette, and they are completely different from Kim's paints. And these are, Margot is from Santa Fe, and gosh, she's like an alchemist. You know, if you've seen pictures of her studio that she shares on YouTube and Instagram, she's got all these beautiful shelves full of jars of pigments. And Margot's been an art conservator for years, and so she has a very different perspective on things, and very much that of a healer and an alchemist. And I love her paints as well, and they're very, very special to me also. And they're completely different. They're very different to work with, and I, depending on the mood that I'm feeling and the subject that I'm portraying, I select different makers, because they all speak to me differently, and I'm really selective about them. I've tried many, and I've settled on the ones I'm sharing with you. So these are the Earth Mineral Arts paints, and I also have another tin that has her white and pure brass and antique silver mica, which I use if I want some metallics or white. And then I also have this medicine box from Margot, which is very, very special. But this is very personal, and I don't use this so much in work that I give to others or sell. This is for my own healing work. So it'd be very beautiful. And then the next maker that I met and fell in love with her paints is Kelly from Stoneworks Mill. And Kelly, again, is completely unique, and many of her paints, many of them are made from minerals and rocks that she has sourced herself, that she has carried on her back and ground into pigment powders, and went through that whole process of creating paint from a real rock that you could hold in your hand. Which to me, like she'll start with a rock or a crystal and grind them down and turn them into watercolor paint. And that to me is just magnificent. It's wonderful. And she has a really strong connection to geology and to nature and to the earth. And it comes through in her paints. They are also exquisite and very different from anything else I use. And so I do have in here one wild thorn paint, the Sun Gold Mica, because as of yet, Kelly does not have a pure metallic paint yet, but I know she will. But in the meantime, the Sun Gold Mica is my very, very, very all-time favorite metallic paint. It's by Wild Thorn, and it is. I have 4 pans of it because I use it constantly in everything. Anyways, so these are Kelly's paints from Stoneworks Mill. And Kelly was very much mentored by Margot, not Margaret, Margot. And she was also mentored and has been helped a lot by Stephanie, who makes the Rivervale paints. And these are fairly new to me. I ordered a small selection of them, colors that I really didn't have in any other way. And they are also just beautiful. They're beautifully made paints, and they're very different. And I have one of her metallics as well. It's a champagne gold. So it's not as bright as the Wild Thorn Gold, but it's also very beautiful when I want a little bit of a deeper gold color. So these are Rivervale paints. And then the newest ones to me are by A. Gallo. And Alina is in Italy. She's in Assisi, Italy. And her paints are also beautiful. And they're the closest paints that I have to more traditionally made paints. They're very, very refined and smooth, and they act more like traditional paints than any other handmade paints that I have. They are also absolutely exquisite and a pleasure to work with. So these are the makers that I love and that I support and that I share and that I encourage others to look at. And what I've noticed about this community of makers in the handmade watercolors is that they all support one another, which is what I love. I love that so much because they know that they are doing something special and that they want everybody to be able to experience that and that the more people that are introduced to handmade watercolors, the better everyone will do. And they're very supportive of one another. They buy each other's products. They share each other's work. And that to me is a remarkable thing, and it makes me want to support them all even more. So, it's in fact the Rivervale paints. These paints, Kelly of Stoneworks Mill told me about them, and so I bought them because of her. So, anyways, those are my my handmade paints, and today I'm going to use Kelly's paints actually because she has the widest variety that I have. I mean, they all have them, but she has the widest variety of golden colors and earths, which is what I really want to use today. But this goes a little bit further, okay? Several times over the past few years, after I started teaching and sharing my techniques and the way that I do things, I've had people approach me and say, and even as I share my work on Instagram or Facebook or on my website or whatever, and people have approached me and said, "Aren't you afraid that someone's going to steal your ideas?" And I just kind of stop in my tracks and I think, well, no, not at all. That's not, and first, it's not even my intention. My intention is to create because I love to create. And that I have been able to sell paintings is a big bonus. I mean, it's not the reason I do this. I don't do this work to sell paintings, okay? Selling paintings is an honor, and it's a privilege, and it's a gift to me, and it has helped me in many ways. But that is not my focus. My focus is to create and to inspire other people to create and to share what I learned because I'm so excited about it that I want other people to do it too. I know the benefits that it's had for me in my life, and I want everyone to have that because I think the world would be a better place if we all had that joy in our creative practice, right? So no, I'm not worried that people will steal my ideas. I hope people take what I teach them and run with it and make it their own and share it with other people. I have it's never in my mind. It's never in my mind. I believe in sharing. And so it comes back to loaves and fishes. The more we give, the more we receive in so many ways. And I'm not talking about financially. Okay, so a giving nature is a receiving nature. They work hand in hand. They work hand in hand. And it's a big enough pond for all of us. Okay, and you know why? Because if we paint from our heart, from that authentic place in our heart, and if we put our heart into our work and we put our heart into the materials that we choose and the materials that people create, they put their heart into it. That's why they're all different, okay? So when we do that, we are unique. We have a unique voice. I could teach you how to make a dandelion lesson or an angel or everything that I teach. When I see the things that people create from them, the lessons that I give, their work is uniquely their own because they are having joy, they're experiencing joy, and they are painting from their heart. So it will always be unique to them, okay? I just saw today someone posted a beautiful two-color landscape. I shared that lesson a few months ago, and it was so beautiful. And it was the technique that I shared, but it was uniquely her painting, okay? The colors she chose, the way she put her paint down, everything is her, all right? So that is my message today. And, I don't know. What I hope is that by sharing these lessons, other people will find joy in the creative practice. They will learn to love creating instead of being discouraged because it doesn't look like somebody else's, thing or as good as somebody else's. They will learn the joy of creating, and they will share that joy with others naturally. And so we could end up, friends, with the whole world painting dandelion lessons if we share, okay? Because it's joyful, isn't it? It's joyful. It's so good for us. So I would like to paint with you. I've got here an origami postcard from Jet Pens, and this is the green the green pack. They look like this, okay? And I have my paints from Kelly, the Stoneworks Mill. And I have, let's see, I'm gonna use, I'm just gonna use my squirrel mop. And I'm gonna paint some fishes, all right, on this card. And I'm using this as my guide, but it doesn't have to be just like this. But this inspired me, the whole idea of the fishes and the loaves. And so I'm just gonna draw really simply these long kind of ovals. And then put a little fin here, and a little fin here, and a little tail coming out here. And then I'll paint one this way, or draw one this way. A little area for an eye, the mouth, and its gill. And then I'll do one this way. I'm going to do 3. See, I'm not even really thinking about it. I mean, this is not a perfect fish, but you can sure tell it's a fish, right? Okay, so I've got 3 fishes drawn. And then I'm just going to turn on some music and I'm going to paint them. And I'm just going to paint intuitively. I'm going to use these beautiful colors. I might put a little background in, but I'm just going to turn on some music and paint, and you can watch, and then hopefully you will be inspired to try your own. All right? Okay, so I painted my fishies, and I hope you noticed that I used a very loose brush. I was not trying to be in the lines. I let the paint spread and bleed and do whatever it wanted to do. And I think it has kind of a batik look to it, right? And then what I can do is once I'm done painting, I could even go in with a little pencil, like water-soluble graphite if I wanted to, and just enhance like where I put the eyes, or even add more spots to him if I wanted to. But quite honestly, I really like the way they look. They look just very spontaneous and fresh and just really fun. There. Those are my fishes. I think it's super fun. So I'd like you to try it. Try it on either rice paper, origami postcard. If you do it on the Strathmore watercolor postcard, just use a lot of water and let the colors really mix and mingle. Like go right up to the fish with your background color and let the colors just sort of spread out and mingle together. So many colors, so many ways to apply it. It all works. Okay, this is a free exercise. There's no expectations, there's no stress, and whatever is painted with joy, and it will be beautiful. Okay, if I planned this and I wanted it to look like this, it probably wouldn't turn out like this. So whatever happens is a gift. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this. I want you to think about that idea about it's a big enough pond. It can apply to so many things in our life. And leave your thoughts, as always. I love to read them. I love for this to be a conversation. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next Tuesday with a new Artists for Everyone video. And again, if you have not checked out Patreon yet, it has been so much fun. I really enjoy it. It's $5 a month, and you get quite a lot of content for that. And when you join, you can also go back and see the other videos that have been posted previously. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm very, very happy with the way it's going. And tomorrow I will be doing another watercolor project video, and then I've got a watercolor techniques video planned for Friday. So I hope you are all doing great. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. See you soon.